may know them from their movies Clerks, Chasing Amy, and Mallrats, but they are best known as Jay and Silent Bob. Their real names, of course, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Tonight, they will be live at the Fillmore Silver Spring, a wonderful venue, bringing their famous podcast to the stage. The show is Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. First, they join us here in studio, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. This is very exciting to have you here. Hi. Jason, good to see you.
Nobody generally lets us on TV, especially this early. So, but the first thing they told us before we jumped out, they were like, cannot curse, which I'm okay with. This guy immediately had to shut off a bunch of snaps in his head. Otherwise, you'd learn a lot of colorful language.
Well, you know, and let me ask you, because for something like this, Jason, I'll start with you. You know, I've seen you guys interviewed all over the place, and you do Comic-Con, and you do the podcast and all that kind of stuff, and you say whatever you want to say. It's very free. Is it hard to kind of edit for, you know, morning television?
No, not really. I mean, I do get concerned while I'm in the middle of an answer like this that I might slip, but that's why I sort of slowly come out so I can think about it before I say it.
Right.
There's no filter on this one. Like most of us have a filter, we think it, and then it hits the filter before it comes out. But with him, it goes from brain to mouth, and that's problematic sometimes.
Right.
And I try to let him talk more so I don't have to worry about curse. You know, I mean, if I'm sitting up here, I'll be like, yeah.
We switch roles. I become Jay, he becomes Silent Bob.
That's right. But, you know, my suspicion is it's one of the things that endears you to your audience. You guys seem you're very real, and it seems like even the characters you play are very relatable to a lot of folks who get the impression that this is you.
I think the characters in movies, folks fall in love with those characters. Then we kind of use the name to go out and perform under as ourselves. And the show itself, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, it's like an intervention podcast because Mewes used to have a hard time with the heroin and with the OxyContins and stuff. So we use the podcast like once a week to gather together and have kind of a meeting, if you will. It's kind of like the most entertaining AA or NA meeting you'll ever be at in your life. So every week we gather in front of people. You know, folks fell in love with those characters. Then we kind of use the name to go out and perform under as ourselves. And the show itself, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, it's like an intervention podcast because Mewes used to have a hard time with the heroin and with the OxyContin and stuff. So we use the podcast like once a week to gather together and have kind of a meeting, if you will. It's kind of like the most entertaining AA or NA meeting you'll ever be at in your life. So every week we gather in front of people, you know, an audience. Oddly enough, in a bar where there's booze. And then we put the podcast out into the world so there's accountability. So that at this point, anybody who knows he's had drug problems in the past, they'll always be like, how you doing, man? How many days you got? So it kind of keeps them on the straight and narrow. And we're doing it tonight at the Silver Spring Fillmore, but I had no idea that debate was on this evening.
Oh, that's right.
I wanted to watch the debate myself, but you can tune in and watch the debate and watch two guys who will say anything to get elected, or you can come watch us, two guys who will say anything to get laid. It's far more entertaining.
That's right.
Far more.
You can have the debate on behind you and react to that if you want to with the podcast. It sounds like a lot of fun. Are you surprised that these characters have endured so much?
Yeah, oddly enough, they have kind of stuck around. I think that has everything to do with him and his portrayal of the Jay character, which is kind of based on who he was when he was 16 years old. Everybody, based on what I read on Twitter and Facebook and in real life, because we're always out there, everyone goes, I know a guy just like Jay. And it's the identity factor, the relatability, I think. Even going back to '94 when Clerks first came out, people like, I know dudes like that who hang out in front of convenience stores. I know dudes like that who just like are practically married, hetero life mates, if you will.
Jay, let me ask you this. How much of what you guys do is improv? A lot of it seems to be improv. Maybe it's just because it's written so natural or what have you, but how much of it is really just you guys improving?
In the movies?
In the movies,
I
obviously the podcast is.
Well, the podcast, yeah, it's all stories sort of the last 25 years of our friendship and working together and stuff. In the movies, I mean, I try to stick to the dialogue, but I try to also ad-lib as much, but it usually slaps down my, you know, let me say this and this instead, and I'm like, that's silly.
Yeah, don't express yourself. This is what I express myself through you, the puppet. Shut up, say my words.
So I try, but...
One of those directors.
Oh, Lord. Not actor's director, but I straight to the imagination.
Are you retired? You said a couple of years ago you were going to retire from
one more. I'm going to make one more film I want to direct that we take out in theaters and stuff. It's called Hit Somebody. It's a hockey movie, and I'm shaping the screenplay. It's going to take a while. But then I want to go do all the other stuff. I've been filmmaking for nearly 20 years. all these other things interest me more. You know, honestly, like, I just want to jump around, become a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I was sitting here watching you guys do the news. I was like, I'd like to do that. If they let me wear a hockey jersey, I'll totally do the news.
You could do that if you want to come. So you know you could do if you want. You could do the weather at some point if you want to come in and do that.
Push the weather on me, man. I want to do the news, man. The hard news. I see my poor weatherman over there. I want to sit at the main desk. He gets invited over once every 10 minutes.
See? Let's watch what's going on here. All right, I want to ask about season 2 comic book. And you know what? Here's my thing with you guys. It appears that you guys have gotten to do anything that you've wanted to do. I don't know what the struggles, if there have been struggles, I know about the personal struggles, but career-wise, it just seems like you guys are getting to do whatever you want to do.
That's
Talk
easy.
about
It's
comic
so
books.
easy to do. Anybody could do this. Well, once you get your foot in the door, first you got to do some work. And trust me, it all takes a little bit of work. But in terms of being able to do anything you want to do, it's possible. A lot of people get wrapped into their role. A lot of people, like, when I told people, like, I'm not going to direct anymore, they're like, that's what you do. You're a director. I was like, I do a lot of things. That's the one thing that I got paid the most to do in the last 20 years. But all these other things interest me. And life is so short. My man dropped dead like nearly 10 years ago. And I realized at that point, we're all going to go out, man. Might as well taste it all and try everything you're remotely interested in. I grew up listening to Howard Stern in the morning before I go to school. So all the podcasting that we do, because we got a bunch of podcasts at smodcast.com, comes from that. Comes from, like, that dude made my day easier. And it was fun to listen to somebody who's being candid about his life. And so when we got older and suddenly the podcast technology democratized the medium, let everybody be a broadcaster, give everybody a platform to kind of say what's on their mind. We jumped in with both because that kind of thing is fun. Anybody could do this, man. You got a laptop, jack it open, and start recording with your friends or your parents.
That's where it is now.
Yeah.
Radio, too many corporate suits controlling it. Podcast's the way to go. We got to wrap it there, unfortunately. I wish we could talk much longer. Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob, Get Old. It's tonight at the Fillmore Silver Spring, 8 p.m. Also check out season 2 of Comic Book Man on AMC. And Jason has a new movie coming out next year called Mewes. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Excellent job, man. That's great.
That's right. You can come do the news anytime you want.
Let me over.
All right. Allison, back to you.
Oh man, more Kevin and Jason, please.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay, we're just days away from the 75th annual International.
Ma, listen. We'll discuss your new boyfriend later. Right now, I just need you to take care of this baby for 2 hours. That's all. Okay?
No.
No.
N-O. No.
That's the power we talked about. I'm looking this.
You figure it out. Like I did. Believe in the universe. Everything happens for a reason.
Can you please go back to being Catholic?